Welcome to the Invite Health podcast, where our degreed healthcare professionals are excited to offer you the most important health and wellness information you need to make informed choices about your health. You can learn more about the products discussed in each of these episodes and all that Invite Health has to offer at www.invitehealth.com/podcast. First-time customers can use promo code podcast at checkout for an additional 15% off your first purchase. Let's get started.
Okay, welcome. This is pharmacist nutritionist Jerry Hickey for Invite Health. I'm the Chief Scientific Officer over here. Today we're discussing cocoa for your brain health and for memory. Cocoa does a number of wonderful things for your brain. There's a hierarchy of constituents that support brain health. For instance, flavonols. They're flavonoids. They're healthy constituents from plants. These ones are very vasoactive. In other words, they help improve circulation throughout the body, to your heart, to your legs, but also to your brain. And that's important because circulation to the brain suffers in many people and suffers in all people with age. So after flavonols, there's also anandamide. Anandamide is natural to the human brain. It's a neurotransmitter in the human brain. It's the bliss molecule. It improves your mood. It makes you feel happier. Cocoa also supplies an array of methylxanthines like theophylline and theobromine. These give you brain energy. They improve your focus and your mental clarity. They just make your brain active and alive. And they're not going to overstimulate the brain. They make the brain feel like the way it should. Then there's phenylethylamine. That's an alkaloid. It's an empathogen. Empathogens make you have this sense of oneness. You feel connected. You feel good about yourself. But they also improve your empathy, your sensitivity to other people's plights and their feelings. There's also salsolinol in cocoa. Salsolinol is an isoquinoline. It's also natural to our brain, and the amount in cocoa helps protect your brain cells. It protects them from things like pollution and toxins and free radicals. There's also some inositol in cocoa. Inositol is connected to B vitamins. It helps with cellular interactions. It helps with cellular communication. So it helps the brain cells converse with one another. And there's some serine in cocoa, and that's very important. L-serine is an amino acid, and in the brain, we convert it to D-serine, and that's really important for neuroplasticity in the brain, like the brain adapting to things, and the brain connecting new neural networks, and the brain consolidating its connectivity between brain cells and organs in the brain involved with memory and understanding and problem solving, etc. But it's also involved with the structure of the brain cell itself. The cellular membrane, the membrane surrounding the brain cell, is a liquid. It's a waxy liquid. And, think of water and oil. So the fluids in the brain stay out of the cell because the outside of the cell is a waxy, fatty substance. And very important to that substance is serine. It allows electrical flow around the brain cell, and it allows the brain cell to move energy to the next brain cell for communication, for memory, for learning. And it also allows the brain cell to release the appropriate neurotransmitter at the correct moment. So, for instance, you need norepinephrine to pay attention. You need dopamine to understand what's dangerous and what's good for you. You need serotonin to control your appetite and get rid of feelings of bad mood, sour mood and depression, anxiety and stress. So the serine found in the cocoa helps adjust all these things. Now, circulation to your brain is key to brain health. Your brain has a huge demand for nutrition. Your brain has a huge demand for oxygen. Your brain has a huge demand for energy. Like it'll grab 20% of the calories from every meal. Your brain only represents 2% of your body weight, but yet it grabs 20% of the calories from every meal for energy, for brain energy. So it functions. So with age, circulation to your brain declines. It happens throughout the body. So the organs, the major arteries that go into the brain, they stiffen with age, and it's harder for the heart to pump blood into the brain. So with every stroke of the heart, the brain is getting less oxygen, fewer calories, less nutrition. Brain cells start to die. If you have enough of this going on, it's going to affect your memory. It's going to affect your problem-solving skills, your executive functions, your cognitive skills. I tried to put a figure to it. What I found was research from Harvard Medical School several years ago that showed on average, they took a big sampling of Americans, on average with age, circulation to your brain declines somewhere between 10 to 14%. Now in general it's worse in smokers and diabetics and people with certain diseases. So they suffer even more. I mean, that's why diabetics are more prone to Alzheimer's disease, dementias in general, Parkinson's disease, and strokes, and also vascular dementia. So cocoa, very good for the brain in aging people. Very good for the brain. Harvard has shown it's vasoactive. When they gave people cocoa, within 2 weeks it restored circulation to their brain by 10%. And Brigham and Women's Hospital actually coined a term called neurovascular coupling. And their studies, Brigham and Women's Hospital's up in Boston, they found in their studies that when you give older people cocoa, even the first serving, you don't have to have it for 3 weeks before it starts to help. Even within the first serving, it's restoring circulation to the brain. And over time, and not a very long time at all, within weeks, you restore health to important structures in the brain involved with memory and knowing where you are and logic and problem solving, like the entorhinal cortex, the hippocampus, the parahippocampal dentate gyrus. All of these function together to give you all those human attributes for all that brain function that we do. So they found within literally weeks that it's improving brain health and restoring the anatomical health of brain structures, and they're solidifying their wiring with each other. They're developing new neural networks, new connectivity, and they're functioning together better. So let's look at some of the data. This is the University of Reading in England. It's in the Journal of Physiology and Behavior, and they're looking at young, healthy adults. And they gave them cocoa, and they found out that just giving even one serving of cocoa, of course more is better, like if you have one serving every day, it's better than just one serving one time. But they found that even the first serving of cocoa improved aspects of brain function and memory functions and aspects of vision. These are young, healthy men and women. So here's a study in young, healthy men who are exercising. The study was performed at the Japan Institute of Sports Science and at Tokyo Medical University. And they gave young, healthy men, fit men, a dose of cocoa 70 minutes before exercise. And they found, yes, exercise is good for the brain. It improves circulation to the brain and mental clarity, etc. It's very good for the brain. But they found adding the cocoa was even better. They found it led to notable improvements in executive function, working memory, reasoning, task flexibility, problem-solving skills. I mean, this is real. These are young, healthy people. They're at the top of their game. If it can help them, it can certainly help me. I'm an older guy. I give cocoa to my wife and me every day, by the way. Just one thing about cocoa. Make sure it's sold as a supplement. How do you know this? If it's sold as a food, there's a box on the side of the panel that says nutrition facts. If it's sold as a supplement, the box says supplement facts. So why is that important? Well, if it's a food, they don't have to check it for pesticides and sprays and bacteria, etc. They don't have to check it for heavy metals. As a supplement, we have to check for all these things. Plus, you want to get a really good non-GMO cocoa that's never been irradiated. You want a high-quality cocoa. For instance, when I went out and sourced my cocoa, I looked for fair trade. I got it from Ghana, where they don't have children involved with working on the cocoa farms. I made sure it was non-GMO. It was never sprayed. It's never irradiated. I wanted good stuff. You want to make sure you have these ingredients in there, because they also find that when you process cocoa into chocolate, even if it's dark chocolate, a lot of the ingredients are sensitive. They're vulnerable. And in the processing to chocolate, you can lose some of these very valuable ingredients that are important for the brain and circulation, like the flavanols. So once you add the Dutching and the milk fats and the sugar, you can destroy some of these important ingredients. So get it as cocoa, not chocolate, and get it as a supplement, not a food. You'll be better off. Okay, so here's a study from researchers in Italy. It's a very interesting study. It's in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Because this was people with healthy brains between the ages 61 to 85. And it's an 8-week-long study. And they gave cocoa flavanols at 3 different levels. They gave it at a low flavanol content, a moderate flavanol content, and a really high flavanol content. And both the moderate and the high flavanol content really made significant improvement in brain function, but the higher the flavonoid level, the higher the level of flavanols, the better the brain function. So it was 3 different drinks of cocoa to people between 61 and 85 who had no problems with their brain function. It's an 8-week study. And they tested them at the start and the end of the study for memory, retention of facts, remembering, recalling, executive function. And if you had the really high flavanol drink, big improvement in cognitive function after 8 weeks. It really meant something. Now, a couple of things about cocoa. You want to get cocoa as a supplement, not as a food. How do you know the difference? If cocoa is sold as a food, it says nutrition facts. If it's sold as a supplement, it says supplement facts. There's a box on the side that'll say either nutrition facts or supplement facts. Go with supplement facts. For this reason, when it's supplement facts, you have to check it for heavy metals and things like that, because cocoa could be tainted with cadmium and with pesticides. So when I went out to source cocoa, I looked for a really high quality cocoa. I found cocoa from Ghana. Now, why'd I pick Ghana? It was fair trade, and it didn't involve child labor. And it's a non-GMO cocoa that was never sprayed, that was never irradiated. And then we tested for things like pollutants and heavy metals like cadmium and mercury and arsenic and lead, etc. We check it for, bacteria and everything. Really clean cocoa. Non-GMO, never sprayed, never irradiated. But the other thing is, you want cocoa and not chocolate, even dark chocolate. Because when you convert the cocoa to chocolate, when you go through the processing, adding the milk fats, adding the sugar, and Dutching the cocoa ruins the content of flavanols, which are very important for restoring circulation to the aging brain. So let's go on with the studies. This is the journal Neuropsychiatric Disease and Treatment. It's from researchers at Beth Israel Deaconess Medical Center up in Boston, Brigham and Women's Hospital up in Boston, and the patients for Boston-based Hebrew Senior Life, a nursing home. And the researchers gave these elderly people either cocoa rich in flavanols or cocoa low in flavanols. Now, it was a placebo-controlled, randomized, double-blinded human clinical trial, and within 2 weeks, the cocoa restored blood flow to the brains of these aging people by 10% within 2 weeks. And not only did it improve blood flow to the brain, but they were doing better in cognitive function tests. There's more to say on cocoa and memory and cocoa in the brain. And what I'm going to do is continue this in a future episode. So thank you for tuning into the Invite Health podcast. You can find all of our episodes for free wherever you listen to podcasts or by visiting invitehealth.com/podcast. Please subscribe. Please leave us a review. You can follow us on all those social medias like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or at Invite Health. Hope to see you next time on another episode of the Invite Health podcast. Thank you so much for listening.